Awesome. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate you taking the time. Come to my session. This is for Design System Roundtable, so more of a discussion based than presentation. And I'll start by introducing myself, probably be helpful. My name is Tori Hu. I work for the School of Humanities and Sciences in the IT department. I am a project manager on the web services team. I also am the product owner for our Drupal 9 product that we have now. And I have also been the design lead for that product since the beginning. So about 4 or 5 years since we've started our Drupal journey, or at least this version of Drupal, excuse me, that we have. And I'm also in charge of putting together our design system. We're now at a place where we can do that. So that's driving what I have today. But I would love to hear from you all and see who you are and where you come from. So I will pass it around. I guess we'll start with David and then just popcorn around.
Oh, man. I'm David Tom. I'm the manager of design operations in Stanford Web Services, which is a internal agency at Stanford. We do web stuff, we do mobile stuff, just UX design, all sorts of stuff in development. And then and that's a part of the UIT organization. So I will pass it to Andy.
Good morning. I'm Andy Miller, the CIO in H&S. Very excited to be here for a few minutes. I've got a time conflict, but I'm looking forward to the first few minutes. And Tori, Joey, and Marion and Jen are all part of my team. I will pop it over to Patrick.
Hi there, I am Patrick McMahon. I'm Senior Director for Marketing and Digital Strategy for the Office of Development. Oversee most of the user-facing web products for fundraising for the Office of Development in Stanford. Work really closely with a bunch of David's team members on kind of rebuilding the front ends for donor experience, and have a couple of design systems in place in Figma, and just kind of curious to eavesdrop on the conversation here. I also have a time conflict, but we'll glean what I can. Joey.
Hi there. So yeah, my name is Joey. I'm a web project manager here. I also work with Tori and Marion and Andy and Jen. Yeah, I'm just here to support everyone. I've been here for 3 years and have been doing some maintenance and testing and all that stuff. So that's me. I will pass it off to, how about Irina?
Sorry, I need to unmute myself. It takes a bit of clicking. Hi, my name is Irina Zaks. I'm a web developer. I work with all type of web systems. My system of choice is Drupal and Backdrop, but I also work with other systems, including plain HTML. I also teach class for tech training on how to write HTML. So it's HTML class, and being able to use design systems well is extremely important. And we're very happy to have Decanter, which I understand is a design system, right, David? So thank you. And it's great to see people that I know. It's great to say hello to people that I didn't have a chance to meet in person. And we hope that people who can make it tomorrow to Tressidor will have a fun evening, fun afternoon. If you prefer to eat lunch there, that's fine too. I'll try to be on campus at lunchtime, but I'm not sure, but definitely 4 o'clock is when we gather and we take pictures of each other, drinking lots of beer, and then we totally enjoy both evening and memories and all the learning that we bring back from WebCamp. And I might disappear from this session because I'm a little bit on the organizer side, and very happy to have you all here.
Thank you. I think Jen, Marion, and I'm going to mispronounce it, so I'm very sorry, but Mahoko, if one of you would like to unmute yourselves and just introduce name, unit, brief explanation of what you do, that'd be great. And then we'll dive into questions.
I'll go next. Hi, everyone. My name is Jen Delannon. I work with Joey, Tori, Marion, and Andy. We're all on the same team. I am also a project manager, and I just help with maintenance and testing and site building. I started off as an intern for the team for 6 months, and now I'm on the team again as a contractor. So it's really nice to be here. Nice to meet you all. I will pass it off to Marion.
Thanks, Jen. So Marion Marquardt, Associate Director for Web Services for the School of Vision. I think I'm super excited to listen in on the conversation. We've been talking about design system as a way to keep our presence coherent, but I think there's a growth of design system that goes beyond the design side. That's how design systems integrate into the development practices. And that's also something I'm curious what we can learn from each other in that area. I'm going to pass it over to Mihoko.
Good morning. So actually, I'm not from Stanford. I am from UC Santa Barbara. I work for the public affairs. I am the web services and technology director there. I jumped on this one because I'm curious. So we offer the web framework, which is Drupal 9 on Pantheon platform. And then that is kind of turnkey solution. So we have all customizable template, and then also placeholder images, and we have all the, loaded all the brand font, web fonts, and then color palettes and all that. But it is only limited to Drupal user. But we like to expand those brand guideline and also accessibility, the standard to anybody who creates the UCSB websites on campus. So I am curious. I'm not sure if this the session is anything to do with it, but I was curious if anything like you have a design system which is platform independent. That would be great to hear. So that's what I'm here for.
Well, welcome. We're excited to have you. And hi, Drake, I see you're new. We were just saying a quick introduction. I'm Tori, I'm the one leading the session. So it's nice to have you here. If you wanted to do just a quick second of who you are, which unit you're from, that would be lovely. Totally fine. Oh, hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, sounds good. I'm Drake. I am a full stack Drupal developer, and I'm just trying to learn a little bit more on design systems and wanted to just come and join the discussion.
Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining and popping in. So I think I have a bunch of questions. I have some answers myself, but I really wanted to just get a check and learn from each other. I think that's one of the great things about WebCamp and in our community is being able to find the commonalities and see if we have the same kind of questions or bumps or obstacles or success stories and things across the board. And I think this was really where I want to start with the design system is getting a bit of a temperature check. I think you all kind of alluded to this in your intros, but really seeing, which units have working design systems. And then also who's working towards one. Me and my team, we are doing that currently. So I'll raise my hand for that one. And then who's just curious, has never had one before and is interested just to learn more. So I think I'll go backwards, and you can actually raise your hand if you want, looking at the grid, or the raise hand function in the chat. But who has a working design system that's been up for 1 to 2 years more? David, awesome.
I got to run, so
Yeah.
but I can give a quick overview of what we're doing in Stanford Web Services.
That would be great.
So yeah, thanks, Joey. just real quick, so we maintain that the Decanter design system that started as a collaboration between university communications web team and our web team, and that is the primary driver, was the primary driver for a lot of what we have in Stanford sites. First, the version that was on Drupal 8, and then as we evolve. Since the release of that, Stanford Sites is still using an older version of Decanter. We've versioned it a couple times, and we've had to begin to put a lot of development in on the alumni platforms that Patrick is partially represents. He represents the offices of development side and not the alumni side, and a lot of those projects. So one of the things that we're learning is it actually is very hard to have support multiple systems and technologies from one design system, especially if code isn't inherent in it, right? So a difference between a pattern library and a style guide is that it's the design plus the code. So we've definitely had some versioning and what we call trees, I guess, or I don't know the code word, but and I think we're right now we're kind of working through, okay, so how do we manage that? What's the best way to approach that? And we also know that a lot of the enterprise systems, they're the way those enterprise systems that are administrated in our university IT department, a lot of those folks don't have front-end developers, or and a lot of those systems don't allow full access to the code to really, so it ends up being more of a theming situation, right? So we're trying to figure out, like, what's the most pragmatic way to ensure that the brand happens, and that we're saving people work when we can, by providing all the patterns and on the design side, of course, with the libraries in Figma, but then also the code libraries where applicable. Can they at least be a starting point for what needs to get done in the other downstream systems? So that's Justin's here, so he knows a bit about it too. So he's one of the contributors to Decanter. So thanks, Justin, for being here. But I have to run. Unfortunately, I kind of forgot about this meeting. That I have to go to. So
Okay.
thanks so
Thank
much.
you, David.
I was
Thanks
so
for joining
excited
in the
about
overview.
this discussion, and then I messed up my other meeting. So sorry about that.
Okay. We are recording it, so you can watch it after, hopefully. But
Great.
yeah,
Thanks.
thank you so much, David. Appreciate it. Hey, hi, Justin. Welcome.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, sorry to be late, but
Oh, good.
yeah, I'll hop in when I.
Yeah, for sure. We're just going through. I have some questions prepared for this. I think one we were talking about was what units have design systems, and of course, David was walking us through what y'all are doing with Decanter and kind of where that space is right now. And we use parts of it, I think, for our version in HNS, but we are also in the second question I was asking of who's working towards implementing a design system. We are starting that effort ourselves internally. So I guess to get a temperature check from the rest of the group of, again, you can raise your hand or use the thumbs up icon if you'd like, of who is working towards implementing a design system, because I think that'll help me kind of call the rest of the questions that we may have. But yeah, if anyone else is thumbs up working towards it. Anyone else? Yes, see another thumbs up there from Michael. Great. And I guess, and the last question is, who's curious about a design system? It doesn't have one, very interested. I think that'll be kind of a couple questions we'll go towards the end. But just to see if you have, anyone's like, I have no idea, we haven't implemented it yet, we're not sure. Feel free to raise a hand. Drake, yes, I see your hand up. Do you have a question or comment? Or just answer?
Oh no, I just raised my hand to acknowledge that.
Got it. Thank you. Great. Cool. So I guess to go, because I think most of us have this piece is, and this will maybe tie into who's curious about a design system, maybe answer some of those questions. Have you, because this is something that our team is also considering, of looking at our current products, our processes that we have. We use Figma as well. I know David mentioned that. I think that's come up with a couple other folks as well, from the design side of it. But then development side, you know, how do you marry those two together into a design system? That's always the question mark, right? Of like, okay, I have this team over here, I have this thing happening and then this thing happening, but how can we connect them? And I think that's driving a lot of what we're trying to do with our design system is having them talk to each other. And then how do we do that? It's kind of the fun big question we're doing there, or we're talking about from HNS side. But I would love to hear from you all of, you know, how do you integrate those, not just in the design workflow, but also the development workflow. And that's really, I think, more in the for the folks that have either built it or are working towards it. What are questions that you're asking or things that you've come up with or up against, you know, and we can talk through together.
I'll speak from my perspective. So that's like the $1 million question, in my opinion. It's like, in instances I've worked in the past, I've been here at Stanford for just a little over 2 years now. But before that, I was in an agency, and we did a lot. For half the time I worked there, I was a designer, and the other half I was a front-end developer. So I kind of did both of these things you're asking about.
Mhm.
And a lot of the sites we worked on that were new builds were, part of that was creating some sort of pattern library or design system for the site that we were building. But never in any of those cases were the two things intimately connected, we'll say, in terms of there was no like wired connection, we'll say. I mean, the design work was done in, at the time we were using Sketch and InVision together. And all of the, you know, if you follow sort of the atomic design book as an idea to create a design system, you know, all of the atomic elements like typography and color and all of those things were worked out in design and very much documented in design files. But we had no, again, connection to any code. I understand. Some people are doing that with Figma and other applications now with tokens, and you can tokenize your Figma files that, depending on what kind of technology you're using for your website, that the two things can talk to each other. So if I was going to update my link blue color to a different hex code in my design file, I could push those changes in some form of a Git sort of workflow up to my code files, and then everything would follow from there.
Mhm.
From the bit of research I've done around that, it just requires like another level of things that requires like a considerable amount of expertise that, for lack of a better explanation, like money and time comes into that, right? So you almost need someone who really specializes in that work or has a group of people in their agency or whatever that really understands that. And you just kind of like pay them to do it or something. I mean, not that it's impossible, but you know, I'll speak for myself here, a small team of 4 people, just to get the designs worked out and the code worked out is like plenty for us to, I think, manage within a project. Then to layer on this other level is often just, again, another thing that's up here and is like, everyone's like, yeah, that would be great. But so anyways, I'll leave it there, but I've got a lot of thoughts, frankly.
Oh, that's great, Justin. Thank you for sharing all of that. I think we are in a similar boat with, and especially the time and money question. And that's why we're tackling it now versus earlier when we were developing, you know, our Drupal products in HNS, because it was like, yes, it's a nice to have, but we also need to migrate hundreds of sites because Drupal 7 is end of life. You know, I feel like that's something we've all come across, especially all of us Drupal users. But I want to hear from other folks as well. Does that resonate what Justin is saying? Have you had similar kind of questions or kind of have that same, how do I want to say this? Have that same conversation, or does that kind of not issues, but challenges, we'll say, or reframe that? Because I know we have some folks that are outside of Stanford as well. Is like, does that feel valid in the conversations you're having, or kind of thought exercises around design system?
I just kind of pitch in a little bit. So the UC Santa Barbara in the past is still there the same way, but at the individual college has their own IT, and then they use historically they have their developer and designer. So like each college is almost worked as independent company. There's no coherence as as a university. So that's what we are trying to aim for the public affairs, try to create the branding so that all the any campus websites to use. But still we struggle because they're hosting their own sites on their server, and they have their theming, and they have that kind of distribution system there. So at Stanford, how do you force is not a good the word, but for everybody to buy in this design system? And then is there any way that if you find the other department they're doing on their different color palette, or they're using different the logo or something like that, and is there any enforcement there, or that they have to always go to the same channel to request to create the new website, or how that some kind of policing happening at Stanford?
Yeah, I would say, and Justin, feel free to jump in as well, or anyone, sorry, from Stanford, feel free to jump in. I know we do have the Stanford Web Services team, which David, I believe, is a part of, and they have what we call internally the campus product, which is a certain version of Drupal that is for offering for the university. And I think that is one product and system that they have to offer for schools in different units. I know for our school, the School of Humanities and Sciences, we about 4 years ago, we started to develop our own Drupal product. So a version of off of the campus product that was a bit more flexible for what our units needed. But we've been the ones creating all of the different elements and color palettes and themes and things for our units, and have done that from the ground up as well, and are now starting to kind of go backwards and say, okay, we have this product, we have this code base and this design library. How can we put it into a design system so it feels connected across? And I think to your question of what colors and kind of guidelines and things, we do have strong branding, color palettes and things on our identity website, which is managed by, I believe, University Communications, that we use as our basis as well. So if you look at a School of Humanities and Sciences site, the color palettes will look similar to what you see on campus product and things like that. And thank you, Justin. I just saw you put that link in the chat. If anyone's curious, you can peruse that, because that's what we use as part of our guidelines. And then, of course, Decanter, which is what David was referencing earlier. I think Justin referenced that as well. Those are also great resources from the Stanford side.
Great.
And
So
Justin, I don't know, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. So I was looking at the Decanter's website. That is design system that can be used for a portable. So it's not going to be, it's not Drupal specific or WordPress specific. So I see that some assets, download assets only, or if you want to go to Drupal, maybe there's some other framework there. So, but as Stanford University, this is kind of a main branding that all the other schools should follow. That am I understanding kind of correctly?
I think if you look at the brand, the identity site link that I shared in the chat there, that identity guide is sort of a non-code website that explains the high-level branding expectations and guidelines for not only websites, but other things that, you know, if
Right.
you're putting Stanford logo on a pen or something, all of that stuff is covered in that identity website.
Okay.
The Decanter website is, we'll call it the digital version of the brand guidelines.
Hmm.
And the way that works, I work in university communications. We run WordPress sites right now and not Drupal sites. So we're in a bit of a minority on campus. There's far more Drupal sites than there are WordPress sites. The way we use Decanter is we pull Decanter into our WordPress code base as an NPM package, if anyone is familiar with that workflow, but we pull Decanter in as an NPM package to our WordPress sites.
Okay.
This version of Decanter uses Twig templating. So Twig templating can be used in different, you know, Drupal uses Twig templating. You need a plugin, but WordPress can use Twig templating as well. So we can reap the benefits of the code in here.
Right.
And things like we've talked about, colors, typography, spacing, this red bar that you see at the top of most of our sites that we call the brand bar. There's Twig templates in there for those types of like high level elements. So we pull that in and take advantage of as much of Decanter as we can with what we need to do. And then we create like child themes for anything that Decanter can't help us with, if that makes sense. So that's kind of at least how we are dealing with it right now.
Okay, and then the maintainer of Decanter is okay for any departments or the units to customize. Let's say they want to change the red, you know, the border on the top to, let's say, blue, or so that's allowed to do, like, or is there any like policing happening, or no, it just people just follow the rule? Like,
That's all we can expect, I think.
okay.
I think it's pretty common in higher education that there's really no iron fist of, you know,
Right.
I've worked in other colleges before, and unlike a corporate scenario, there's no one that's going to absolutely tell you can't do something. So it's like the honor system and an understanding that we're all working towards the same, you know, outcomes and goals and things that the university has. So if at Stanford, if you want to make your brand bar purple, you know, that's maybe kind of a silly idea, and there would probably be someone asking you for a little bit of justification around why. But to your point, for like the word policing, like there's no one that can really go in there and change that, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm glad to hear that's not only us. We struggle sometimes and find some website like, oh my gosh, is this UCSB website? You know, it's like totally off branding. So I'm kind of glad to hear that everybody's kind of same boat. Thank you.
Great questions. And I think to your point too, when we work with our units, if they come up with that and say, actually, I don't like this red color, can we have it in like white or black for what Justin was saying, the what we call like the global header and footer, which is the red brand bars at the top and bottom of all of our sites. We do have some flexibility based off of the identity guidelines. And so we had built that into our product of it can be the white, the red, or a black, which are all approved colors. So it does give our units some flexibility while still having a unique look and feel. But it is we encourage them to stay in the sandbox as much as possible. And then if they do want something as purple, we're like, okay, let's talk about that a bit more. And this is the steps if you want to like really go down that path, but let's look over here and see. And I think it is unique potentially to each school as well, because we do all have some or most of the schools, I'm not sure for every single school, have some set of like a web team or someone that helps out with their websites. And of course, we always roll up to University IT to make sure that we're applying to their standards, not just for, you know, fonts and color palette, but also accessibility as well. Can't not mention accessibility. Marian, I saw you unmute earlier. Was there anything you wanted to add or?
No,
a
you just
question?
touched on it. It was that concept that some sites really come about through a umbrella team like ours. And then we are one of the places where we get to really nudge people towards something that's more compliant.
And I think where it can get, I guess, tricky, going back to implementing design system, is how do we ensure that all the levers and customizations that we have based off of, identity, branding, and standards, how can we make sure that the design piece of it and the development piece of it are connected, so that if there is, like a font update, for example, like how does that get reflected, not just through our code base and into the websites, but to like Figma, where we have a lot of our design library and where we do some testing and like additional pieces and have tokens and things like that. I think that's an interesting piece that we're trying to figure out, like, how do we connect everything?
There's a product you may be familiar with called Knapsack. Have you heard of this before?
I have not.
So, I think the website is knapsack.io, maybe. These folks were formerly a Drupal agency out in Portland who kind of concentrated themselves on design systems for Drupal sites, and then they sort of spun the company off into a design system management product. So you might want to take a look at that. I've had brief conversations with them. Obviously cost involved in things. So, but it looks like it could be a solution to this issue where, again, the design files, the design application is connected to the website code, and changes are allowed to flow between all of the things.
Yeah.
So something
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. And I know Joey put that in the chat in case anyone's curious as well. And that's actually a great segue to another question I had, which was about tools, seeing what everyone uses, because I think you start going down the rabbit hole of what are you using for a design system. I know a lot of folks and companies have the time and money, as we were saying earlier, to develop a homegrown system that they use internally and can update and revamp as much as they would like. And I know for us, because we are trying to see what's out there that we could use to fit with ours, we've looked at Storybook. I don't know if that sounds familiar to the folks here. That's one piece of the puzzle that we're looking at. We also work with a vendor that has developed Emulsify, which is also a design system, to see if that works. And then I know there's also things like there's Zero Height, which can connect to Storybook, and which connects to Figma. And there's, you can create all sorts of diagrams and pieces to see what connects with what. But I'm curious, based off of Justin's comment, if anyone else has any other software that they've used or looked into, or design system software that they've seen. I call it software, but I feel like that's maybe not exactly the right term. But any other resources that y'all have come up against or have heard of or seen that are maybe not necessarily homegrown, or I guess to open it up in a slightly different direction as well, any design systems that you really like and have seen of, other companies or other places that you are like, wow, this is beautiful. I wish I could build something like this. Oh yeah, Pattern Lab. That's a good one, Justin. We've talked about that as well.
Yeah, when I was in the agency, in building these things, we would either use Pattern Lab or Storybook. We tended to use Storybook at that time more for projects that were decoupled. And if they were strictly Drupal site with no sort of React front end or anything, we would use Pattern Lab. And it doesn't guarantee, neither of those guarantee you, they don't produce the sort of connection, the intimate connection that we're talking about. But both of those tools, in my opinion, are a great thing to implement as you're going down, because what it gives you a place to build, it catalogs all of the components for you. So for people like content editors or page builders or people like that, they can go in and see what's available to them. Oftentimes you can change the elements of what's there. For instance, if there's the ability to change the background color on a component, you can build it such that there's switches in this preview application, Storybook Pattern Lab, where they can play with that stuff and see how things work before they, log into Drupal and start messing around. And you can change the content, and you can also build example pages in there. So if you have the concepts of different page types, you can also offer example page layouts in there that gives people a place to go again and look at inspiration, I suppose.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. We've seen that with Storybook as well. We had a demo from a vendor about that, and I think there's actually a question in the chat, which is, can you use Storybook Pattern Lab with a not decoupled site? I am not sure. I'll open that to the group. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, again, my experience when we were building strictly Drupal sites, we would often use Pattern Lab because for no other reason, we had we sort of had a default way of starting a new theme for a new website that we were building. And part of that default setup was Pattern Lab. So that was sort of our go-to for strictly Drupal website builds. And we baked in the same way to the decoupled sites, Storybook. I don't know for a fact, but I feel like Storybook is better set up for those types of environments. So I guess to answer the question, if I was building a Drupal site, I would probably start with Pattern Lab and use that for the theme.
Thank you so much.
I'll say that we're my department, we're in the midst of a big project right now, and one of the requirements we've worked out with the vendor is that we include Storybook as our. Now this is a different type of system, but we've made sure for all the reasons you're talking about here that we're going to have Storybook as part of our front end development environment and repository, so that again we can offer this sort of preview. I would also argue that for the front end developers, if you have those on your team, it's a great way to build things before you're worrying about what the CMS does. So if you have a team of developers that works on this stuff, it's the best way, in my opinion, to work out the component and how it works responsively and all that stuff without worrying about what the CMS is doing. Because there does have to be a process when you're using these. There does have to be a process of sort of wiring the templates up to how the data is being coming in from the website.
Yeah, I think that was I think for us was we were talking about implementing a design system, and before we really got into like Storybook and are just now starting to look more into Pattern Lab, that question of how do we not just capture but can show the different variations and complexity of what we have, because we have you like utility classes where for example, we have an accordion element that expands and collapses. It's currently an opaque color. We have a utility class that actually changes it, so it's actually white with a color background. And so how do we capture those types of pieces? So not just for our clients, but also in the system if we needed to update like the color values in those for one color palette versus another, and how can we test that easily and kind of capture those different levers, as I call it. That's one thing that we wanted to keep in mind, because that we don't necessarily want to go back and kind of re-simplify what we're doing, because we have over 100+ sites. I know that feels like a common thing, and in Stanford, I'm like, we have so many. How do we make it work for all of them? So I think just a little bit peek inside our process too is that's a factor, that we keep in mind. And I guess across that, anyone else have something, a similar experience, or I feel like we have a couple minutes left, and it's always interesting to hear from the group if there's any other kind of considerations, obstacles, challenges that you've had similar to that, or just things of like, oh, I wish I had known this prior. That would be great to share out. I think besides having, magically enough time and money, because we all need that. I think then it's part of this. Oh, good. Well, we have about 4 minutes left. I think we actually end 45. And I know for the Stanford folks, we do have the UXers group, which David, who was here at the beginning, he helps run. I'm hopeful to have further conversations with with you all there about this, and hopefully next year could do more of a demo of what we're doing, like a part 2, to kind of illustrate kind of all the learnings from today and how we've done this. That would be great, and see what what tripped us up along the way as well. But yeah, anything else? Any other kind of last thoughts or steps or things?
I'd love to hear more about what you all are doing, whether it's at the moment or down the line, whenever you've figured it all out. I'd be very interested in hearing more about that. We also, I don't think it's formally a community of practice, but there is a Decanter Slack channel for Stanford people here. It's not incredibly active, but it definitely is a place to go if you're using it or thinking about using it or need to know how to use it. It's a good place to go and ask questions, because the people in there are mainly the SWS developers and designers, myself, and a few other people who are actively using it or working with it. So it's a good place to go.
Thank you so much. That's a great point of resources as well. Think about. So thank you for that. I think I'm in it, but if not, I'll double check for anyone else that's interested. And for the outside Stanford folks, I just want to say thank you so much for joining my session today. I feel very honored that you chose to spend your time with us, and hopefully this was a helpful session. And we'll post the recording, or someone will post a recording from the webcam team. And if there's follow-ups and stuff, I'll check with them to see how we handle that. But yeah, hopefully next year I will do this session and be able to show even more or something on what we've done. But yeah, thank you all. And thank you everyone for participating. I learned a lot today. I really appreciate you sharing, and have a lovely rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.